wait a minute. Oh my God. I just realized that I was muted. Oh my God. I can't believe that I just did that. All right, guys, let me start over here. Jeez Louise. Let me look at my audio here. Man, I can't believe I did that. I should have checked that, and for some reason it was muted. I'm gonna go to my settings, just check my audio real fast. Yeah, it's okay, it's coming through now. All right. So, anyways, God dang. Sorry about that, guys. Well, thank you for joining me for some popcorn. Looks like I got a comment here. Okay, yeah, you're laughing. You're laughing now. You're laughing. I see it. With my buddy Brian. I never do that, and it's never muted on its own. That's the other thing. It's usually fine right when I start this stream. Must be some sort of like internet gremlins. Man, now people are just going to click off the video. I got to re-edit this whole thing now, maybe. But anyways, welcome to the stream for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now I'm all distracted. That threw me off, but I'm going to recoup. So what I was saying is that I am way more excited about this one than any of the other stuff. I think that Mandalorian was good enough. The second season was better for sure. But for me, what obviously everybody likes Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda's awesome. Or excuse me, Grogu. Everybody loves Grogu. And that was a genius way. But without that, I don't know if Mandalorian would have piqued my interest too much. I mean, Grogu is really what I was watching it for. Yes, I learned to grow Mandalorian over time. And it was by the end of it, yeah, you're attached to him. And Pedro Pascal did a great job and all that stuff. And of course, when Luke shows up in season 2, that was amazing. But Book of Boba Fett, honestly, it felt sort of tacked on to Mandalorian to me. It didn't feel like it was necessarily. I didn't need to hear about it so much, and without the presence of like Grogu being a like main part of the storyline, I just was kind of on it. But and they had to bring Mandalorian back in there. But with this coming out, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I am flabbergasted. I think it looks badass. I think the trailer alone looks more movie quality. I definitely think that the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi is somebody that we care about. It's somebody that we're definitely, all right, I want to see this guy more. I want to see what he's all about. And we already are attached to him. The thing about Mandalorian is that you didn't really know who he was. And then you didn't really feel any crazy real attachment until you see Grogu. And then you're like, a baby Yoda? And I feel like, yes, of course we knew who Boba Fett was, but you really didn't up until the show. But this character of Obi-Wan Kenobi, we know this dude. We know him well. Like he's part of the fabric of my childhood. You know what I'm saying? Like with Star Wars being just hugely, I don't remember a time in my life when I wasn't watching Star Wars. Like as soon as I was into cool stuff and into fantasy, Star Wars was there. Like I don't remember a time in my life where there wasn't a lightsaber that I was pretending to play with, when I was a kid. The Jedi thing, everybody pretending to be a Jedi and playing like they're a Jedi as a kid. Everybody, choosing which one they're going to be. Of course, some people want to be Darth Vader. And they're right there, Darth Vader, one of the greatest villains of all time, not just within Star Wars, but literally he's iconic. Everybody is aware of Darth Vader, even if they haven't really seen the movies. You know that image. It's too much of a part of pop culture. So with Obi-Wan, I care about this story way more. I just do. And the fact that Hayden Christensen is going to be in there. So look, starting off, before I get into the shot by shot, let's look at this right here. So this is the cast right here, which I'm really excited about. I mean, Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Darth Vader. Look, it doesn't even say Anakin right there. Let me see if I can just put it on that. Yeah. So it doesn't even say Anakin. It just says Darth Vader. We got Obi-Wan Kenobi, obviously, is Ewan McGregor, which is funny how he's got second billing on here. However, this is Google. They sometimes are not fully correct. But Joel Edgerton, which he's awesome. And he's playing the father of Luke, or the guy who's his uncle, excuse me, not the father of Luke. Obviously, that's Darth Vader. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying? The guy that one of the guys that raised him in the original. Now, Kumail Nanjiani, I'm not sure what he's going to be in there, and it's probably going to be like in episode 4 or something like that. He's going to pop out as this character that's sort of a kind of a halfway season tension breaker or something. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know that. I'm just thinking that. But Rupert Friend is who I'm really excited about as the Inquisitor. You know, he's referred to as the Grand Inquisitor in the animated series and stuff like that, like in the Clone Wars and all that, and the Rebels and all that. I can't remember which one specifically, but he's just being called the Inquisitor, it looks like right here, which is fine. That's cool with me. And I'm not too savvy on the Inquisitor stuff as far as the storylines and everything, but I'm aware of it. You know, I'm definitely very familiar of that character. But there's definitely more of a group of like a crew of the Inquisitor crew and stuff. Anyways, but this is what's crazy to me is this Ice Cube and O'Shea Jackson Jr., which is his son. Are they in this? I mean, there's question marks by him, but are they in a Star Wars show? That's crazy. And that would be awesome. I'd love to see what they're going to do in there, but I mean, we'll see. Anyways, I just wanted to show you the cast real quick and the people that I'm really, you know, excited about that are going to be in it. Now, starting off real quick, first scene that we just see Luke, or excuse me, Luke. It's so hard for me not to say Luke with this whole like desert looking scene of Tatooine, but okay, but we see Obi-Wan off in the distance and immediately we see him inside the city and he's just walking around. And what I like about it is that initially up into seeing the original New Hope and then finishing off his story arc essentially with Revenge of the Sith, we never really got to see what was going on with that time period. You just sort of assumed that he was in hiding. You didn't really think about the fact that maybe he's actually doing something. Maybe he's up to something. Maybe he truly is keeping watch like he said he was. And, you know, you do gather that from seeing A New Hope, but not like it looks like they're adding this lore, this detail, you know, and that was one of the genius things about George Lucas starting off that trilogy that way is immediately he was adding room for story without having the story already. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, moving on, we see a shot of Obi-Wan right here and it just looks like he's in the background doing some of his own thing, forging some weapons or some bags and whatever. Then we see him rolling off in the desert on his whatever creature that is. What is that? I mean, it's supposed to be kind of a camel, but it's like a different, like a space camel. Because it's not the same things that were in the. Oh man, now I'm forgetting the name that Han was like. I thought this smelled bad on the outside. It's not one of those. But then we see this shot right here. And at first I was like, does he have a little droid or something? But no, I don't think that is. I think he's just sitting there with like his stuff or maybe something that he's trying to hold on to. Cut to this shot of him looking at what we very much recognize is where Luke was living in the beginning of New Hope with all his family. But what's really cool is that you zoom in on this shot and it's Luke as a little kid. And I love the connective tissue there. I think that that's really fun. I think that makes you feel like that kid again. It tickles, you know, nostalgia. Like immediately when you see that shot, you're just like, oh snap. And then when you see this right here of him, you know, obviously he's just keeping watch on him. That's just something I never really thought about. Obviously, I think, you know, we all knew that Obi-Wan, played by Alec Guinness, was keeping watch over Luke this whole time, but I guess I never really imagined it on the sense like this, which I love it though. I love that he's just like, no, I'm here for a reason because you're here. I'm here because you're here. And I love that. Then of course we get the little Lucasfilm deal and then the sand swiping it by like that. And then one of the things I got to talk about real quick with this, and the main thing to me that it's got me excited and the attachment to this that I think is, or the connective tissue that's working is the score that's used in the trailer. The score is fantastic. It is definitely the stuff that we know, that we're familiar with. And from what I've understood, that John Williams is coming back to create some sort of theme for Obi-Wan for this. I don't think he's scoring the entire series, but he is contributing to it. That way it still has that John Williams vibe-ish. And everybody knows what they need to do when it comes to a Star Wars score. Now, with The Mandalorian, I liked that it was a score that didn't have Star Wars music in it. It was like its own thing. It had its own theme and everything because, one, the tone of it had that Western vibe, but two, I just liked that it felt new and fresh because of that. I really did. I thought the score in Mandalorian was top notch. I mean, very, very good stuff. But that was also a character we weren't familiar with. This is a character we're familiar with. And I feel like you have to have some of that original score connecting to it somehow, or that Star Warsy vibe ish to it somehow. You know what I'm saying? Because it is about characters we know. Now, the Inquisitor, we're not so familiar with if you haven't watched the animated stuff, but Obi-Wan, we're definitely familiar with. I mean, we saw him in 4 movies. So I just really think the score adds a lot to this, especially when you see this jet right here and you start hearing that. Yeah, that's funny, right? And then you see this shot right here. And then I've written down the stuff that he's saying. So I feel like this is the Inquisitor talking when you're seeing these shots like this right here, which is, look, that is so awesome. That is Star Wars cinematic stuff right there. That's movie quality looking stuff. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about this, and I do think this will be the best Disney Plus Star Wars show yet, is that I think it's going to feel closer to that movie vibe. I think it's just gonna have some heavier content involved with it because again, this is continuing on some stories specifically that we've seen in the theater and major plots of the whole Star Wars galaxy. Yes, there's things that are considered canon that happen in the animated stuff and that happen in games even. All that's considered canon, but I'm talking about the stuff that like everybody's seen up until now, not a lot of people were so, if you weren't a Star Wars nerd, you weren't really all that into Boba Fett. You might not have necessarily known who he was. You probably did closer to the prequels because there was Django and all that involved. But in the original movies, Boba Fett's not in the movies. You see him a couple times here and there, but he doesn't really do anything. I mean, yeah, you see him a little in that sandpit fight, but that's it. But these characters, this is literally picking up from where Revenge of the Sith left off. I mean, it is. It's straight up a continuation. So for me, right off, that's super exciting. That's why I'm most excited about this. That's why I think it is going to be the best Disney Plus show yet, because it had the content is something that everybody cares about even more than what they were watching prior to this, as far as the Disney Plus stuff. Yes, they've realized, oh, I do like The Mandalorian now. I think that's cool. Yeah, a lot of people like it, and it's very good. I think Boba Fett's kind of okay, but the show, I mean, Boba Fett, but I think this one right here is going to be like, all right, you're not just telling side stories. You're not just telling another branch of the universe. You're actually picking up from the main lore that we all are watching. So that's just why I think right away it's going to be amazing. And it's going to be the best. Excuse me. So when they show this right here, and then they show this right here, you start hearing the talking of the Grand Inquisitor or the Inquisitor, and he's saying the key to hunting the Jedi is patience. Actually, let me do this. I'm going to do it this way. I got to get to the right effect. Yeah. The key to hunting Jedi is patience. Yeah, see, I did that earlier when I was muted because I was talking about the new trailer of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yes. Check. How about this one? Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's pretty good. Yeah. Anyways, he says, the key to hunting Jedi is patience. He can't hold back what they are. Basically, he's just saying that he's just been waiting and waiting and waiting. So I think that this Grand Inquisitor guy might be one of the most like kind of evil type guys that we've seen, one of the sinister guys we've seen on screen, which is played by Rupert Fiennes. and we'll get to him in a second. But I do think that that's him talking, and he says that compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi, the Jedi code is like an itch. He can't help it who he is. So basically saying that him being a Jedi is actually the reason that he's going to be able to find him. And so that's the only thing spoken in the trailer. Everything else is just visuals. You just have this narration of what I think is the Grand Inquisitor. Um, and I think it's awesome. I like this teaser vibe to it, that there's no real like explanation of what's going on. In fact, I feel like even if they just give us this trailer, there's not another one, I'll be satisfied with that. Just give me this trailer and then I want to watch the movie or watch the show. So leading to that, this is the Grand Inquisitor right here. And he's the one saying all that stuff. I think he looks awesome. There were some people saying that they thought this was Darth, but it's definitely not. It's the Grand Inquisitor, played by Rupert Friend. Then we see this shot right here, and it looks like this is just a close-up of this tram or this, trolley of some sorts transporting everyone. And it's transporting Obi-Wan right there. And then we've got this right here. So this is Reva, or Reva, however you want to say it. But this is another person that's from the series, the animated stuff as well. And so I think she's going to be a villain that they focus on a little more than, they will focus on the Grand Inquisitor, but I think they're going to focus on her a lot. And I think that they're going to she's going to be somebody you're following around that's sort of like hunting, doing the legwork for the Grand Inquisitor. And as if you see right there, she's at this point to where it looks like someone's been executed and she's out there in front of people. And then behind her, there's this, behind her, there's this guy standing there. And then that's Joel Edgerton, who's playing Luke's uncle. And I'm definitely excited to see what they're going to do with this, to see what role he has in it, if he's going to actually have some significance, if he's aware of everything that's going on, obviously he is aware of the protection of Luke, but I'm talking about of some of the deeper significance of everything. Cutting to this right here, now we're seeing Reva on top of this. And what I'm really excited about is it looks like they're diving into some of sort of like the futuristic cities that might exist on some of these planets in the Star Wars universe. Or is this Tatooine at night? I don't know. Right here, is that Tatooine at night? Could be. And that's just cool looking. That's something that we haven't seen a whole lot of. Everything that we're used to seeing Tatooine is during the day and during the desert like this and this shot. And I'm assuming that this is Reva's ship. It's got to be. But they are definitely using a female presence more in this with the villains, because right here we have another admiral of some sorts that's, it's obviously from the Empire. And then it wouldn't be a Star Wars show or a Star Wars movie, even any sort of Star Wars on-screen entertainment, if it didn't have some sort of droid it looks like we might be rooting for. To be honest with you, all the droids thus far in every movie, whether the movie be better or worse, I've enjoyed the droids in all the movies. They've worked well. Sometimes that kind of stuff can be a deal breaker and it can kind of be like, this sucks. But I've actually enjoyed all the droids in these movies. But we'll see if this one holds up. It definitely looks like that, he's going to be somebody we're focusing on. He's like, there's a stormtrooper looking at him right there. And then we see Obi-Wan walking like in the shadows, kind of creeping around, like he knows people are after him. We got like this little gun thing right here, which I don't know if that's something that the droid is going to pull out or if that's the stormtrooper right there. I think it was the droid. But it looks like that might be alluding to a scene that might be a throwdown scene in the city, a little fight scene. Now, here's the deal. I'm curious as if we're going to see him using his lightsaber much. Is he going to be focusing on his... It looks like in the trailer, we just see some gunfights and stuff. I don't see a ton of lightsaber stuff. We do see some lightsaber stuff here in a second when we see the Grand Inquisitor, but I'm just going to show you some more shots here. We got Reva. Looks like she's running up some sort of falling tower on the top of a building. And again, this could be sort of a fight or a chase scene. Maybe she's spying on Obi-Wan. She's jumping across a building here. But then this one right here, I'm curious as to who this person is talking to the Grand Inquisitor, because the Grand Inquisitor's got his lightsaber there and it's just spinning in a circle. And that'd be another thing too. I'm curious to see if that lightsaber is just sitting there spinning in a circle because he's using the force to spin it and just holding it there as a sort of a shield. Like, I don't know, that'd be interesting to me, kind of cool. But yeah, definitely curious to see who this is that he's talking to, because it has to be somebody that has some sort of significance. And then again, this looks like it could be like some Tatooine at night, or maybe it's some other city, but I'm not sure who this person is right here. I do watch some of the animated stuff, and I do watch a lot of, the side things. I've read some comics, stuff like that, some side stories, but just not aware of this person. And maybe my mind's just slipping me, but it's obviously somebody that's on the dark side, and it's in the Empire. They're controlling some stormtroopers, but I'm not sure who it is. Then this is just, I tried to get a good shot of this, but it looks like they're going to have some sort of like chase fight scene in the sky between somebody. That was the best shot I could get, though. And then here looks like Reva. I'm not sure if this is Obi-Wan right here about to stand up and start fighting her, but he's sliding. Some guy is sliding in about to fight Reva. See, like they're about to stand up right here. So I'm not sure who this is, but it's about to go down. Maybe there we go. And again, I'm just not sure who this is. It doesn't look like Obi-Wan from the back, but it definitely is somebody that she's not cool with. I mean, maybe it's Joel Edgerton, but I don't know. So then we get this right here. We get a shot of, it looks like Reva walking up to this symbol. Now, and I tried to get a better shot of this symbol and I just couldn't. But I'm not really sure what they're trying to do here. They're trying to tie in that she's connected to something, what this symbol means. They're obviously going to have to add new lore into this. They're going to have to add some new stuff to make it move forward, but I definitely would like it if it was doing some connection stuff to something we're already familiar with. I definitely want this to feel really significant, not just another, like, let's make some more Star Wars stuff. So my buddy Andrew threw in some comments here. He said, Kathleen Kennedy said when this series was officially announced that there would be an epic rematch between Vader and Obi-Wan. Oh, yeah. No, look, Christensen has, like I said, he has definitely signed on as Darth Vader right here, if you see there. So I do know that he's going to be in it. I'm just not sure if it's going to be I don't know if it would be a full-on thing that's existing in the season, or if it's something that sort of leads up to A New Hope in some way, or if it leads up to him sort of being really, like, I would imagine this is going to be, I don't think there's going to be multiple seasons. I would imagine this is just going to be something that's an insert to tell more of the story of what happened in between. And I would imagine that Vader does something to him that makes him fully and completely go into hiding in solitude. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm thinking that has to happen. Cause yeah, you also say right here, a rematch would make that line of New Hope make less sense, though. We meet again at last. I mean, you say that, but the way it looks in here, and let me show you this picture again right now. And this one, it looks like that he's looking at Luke when he's a kid. So by the time that he meets Luke, he's a lot older. Remember? Right here, he's still looking like Ewan McGregor, not like Alec Guinness. By the time he meets Luke, and Luke is actually a teenager or maybe a college, freshman, junior in college age, something like that, I think that he's probably been in hiding for a long time. So my assumption is that Vader's going to show up like at the last couple episodes, the last episode maybe. There is going to be a showdown, but it's going to be something to where he is going to be fully defeated and not dead, but really, really beat down to the fact that he goes into hiding in solitude. That's what I predict. I just think that it would be the only way that it would make sense for him to say we meet at last. Because if he says we meet at last, and it has been, let's say he's like 7 or 8 right here. Let's say it's 10 or 11 or 12 years later. I mean, that's a long time. I'd say to somebody, oh, at last we meet again, if it's been 10 or 12 years. But anyways, I want to move on with the shots here. I just kind of getting off track as always. I was talking about that symbol last that I'm curious what the symbol is, and that how I definitely want them that this series to be very significant and feel like something meaningful. Not that the other Mandalorian didn't feel meaningful, but like it did feel like, hey, let's make some more Star Wars stuff. I want this to feel like, damn, when we're done with it. I want it to be more emotional. I don't want it to be so like TV showish, if that makes sense. That was one thing about the Mandalorian, and it was very TV showish. Um, so Andrew says, is it going to be one showdown or is it going to be multiple? I think it's going to be one. I think it's going to be one showdown. I don't feel like we're going to have multiple. I think that we're going to see multiple stuff with Reva. I think she's going to be fighting a lot in this. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I think we're going to see her in almost every episode, probably. I think she's going to be a big part of this story. And I definitely think that the Inquisitor is going to be a big part of the story. I think that he and Reva are actually going to be sort of the main villains. And then Darth Vader's sort of going to be at the end, something that is like, oh yeah, and on top of all this shit, we still got Vader coming in, and again, I do think Vader's going to come in and beat down Obi-Wan for sure. Then we got this shot right here. See Reva. I think that she's going to be in this a lot. She's all throughout the trailer. Who is this she's meeting up with right here? Who's got this pistola? Not sure. But then this is obviously Obi-Wan right here on the top of this rooftop here, shooting at somebody that's about to shoot at him. And then some blaster going off. The camera pans over to the side. Somebody else is shooting at him. And then we get this crazy shot of these like green doves or pigeons flying up out of nowhere. I'm curious as if this was just for cinematics or if this is going to be something meaningful. Like, what does this mean in this moment? They're obviously wanting to focus on it, or was it a good shot? And they were like, throw it in the trailer. But as the Inquisitor is saying, the key to hurting the Jedi is patience. They can't hold back what they are, and compassion leaves a trail. The Jedi code is like an itch. He can't help who he is. I think this is right when he's finishing that statement up, and you see Obi-Wan looking off to the side. And I tell you what, Ewan McGregor has gotten older. He definitely is aged very well. But I do think they're doing a good job of making this believable that like in 10 to 12 years, he could be looking like Alec Guinness, especially if he's had a lot happen to him. He has a showdown with Vader and it really messes him up. And he's been in hiding and just sort of not taking care of himself much. I believe it. I think it could work. And that's why another thing I'm really excited about. Sometimes when you do things like when you had Professor X, played by James McAvoy, wow, that was awesome in like the First Class movie where that took place during the Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff like that. Next thing you know, it's Days of Future Past. Excuse me, Days of Future Past. It even worked well too. But the next thing you know, he's playing a bald Professor Xavier in Dark Phoenix, which takes place in the 90s. And you're supposed to tell me in just a few years, he's supposed to look like the Patrick Xavier we saw in the first X-Men movie, which takes place in the 90s. This was supposed to be a prequel to that. It's like, come on. I don't buy that at all. But this, I buy that in 10 to 12 years, he's going to be looking old like Alec Guinness that we saw in A New Hope, the original Star Wars film. I do. I think it looks really good. I think as far as the way his face looks and everything, it's like, yes, sir. Give it to me. Get it to me. And then I got a couple more comments right here. What does this mean? Chow downs. What did I say? Chow downs? Oh, Andrew said multiple chow downs. Nice. Hey, maybe they will go to lunch together. Who knows? Maybe Obi-Wan and Vader will be like, all right, let's hang on. Maybe Vader will be like, okay, let's take a time out. But you never know. That could happen. And then Brian said Katniss Everdeen is confirmed. Yes. Yeah. Katniss Everdeen is going to be in there. And then I think we're going to find out that actually Luke is Vader's father. That's what I heard. And they're really going to flip the script in this, right? I am very, very, very excited about this though, guys. And then also something I didn't show these screenshots real quick right here is initially, okay. So first, then we get the beautiful title card right there of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I love that they put the Star Wars heading above it as always. And I've got it back behind me here, back there and back over here. And I think that, has a classy look to it. It doesn't, I like the Mandalorian look, but it definitely was like big and in your face and everything. This has got a very just sleek, elegant vibe to it, which I'm excited. Just the title of it, you know what I mean? Which, believe it or not, a lot of those things mean something. When they're doing marketing and they're advertising certain things, they want to, without you knowing it and sort of in a subliminal way, convey sort of what the tone of this film is going to be like. That's one of the things, like when you look at the cover of a Fast and Furious movie now, I mean, it's like, oh, look at that nonsense. But with Star Wars, if you think about it, most of it has always been pretty epic painted sort of covers a little bit. Recently, they've started done more of the Photoshoppy covers, but just when they go with a certain look, I think Mandalorian had that Western look to it. This just looks a little bit more of like that highbrow, elegant Star Wars space saga opera-ish thing that we all grew to love, So you got another comment here. Oh yeah. Brian says they'll do an epic cook-off. Yeah. I wonder what kind of food Vader cooks. I could see Obi-Wan being sort of like, appreciating a Mediterranean style diet, but now that he's in the desert, he has to eat rats and stuff like that. But I see him eating kind of lean, but like Vader with all the power at his disposal, what's a meal for Vader? What does Vader actually sit down at the end of the day? Because he still has to eat, right? I mean, can he chew? Look, I mean, by the time we saw him at the end of Return of the Jedi, he looked like Humpty Dumpty. I mean, did that guy even eat right, or was he just fed food through a tube? Brian says that he eats skins. Oh, just like skins of people, or just a skin guy? That's all he eats, huh? Just nothing but skins. So, but one of the things I didn't touch on in the pictures, I was going to say this is to the end, and I think this is kind of cool. So as it's going through the shots of this trailer, in between it throws these little, inserts in. Between darkness, and this is what they all compiled together say, and defeat, hope survives. Now, they say hope survives right when you see this, and I think that's awesome considering the fact that it's leading into A New Hope. And it's like hope survives. And again, that's just really clever marketing. And that's another reason why I think that they're going to try to really make this a little bit more highbrow. I think this one's going to be the best one on Disney Plus yet, because it's leading straight into the film that started it all. I mean, yeah, Rogue One did. Rogue One led into A New Hope, and it did it beautifully. That ending scene in Rogue One is some of the best stuff on Star Wars that's ever been on screen. It's definitely my favorite Vader moment. But I do think that with Obi-Wan's side of it, seeing his side leading into the New Hope, and let's face it, because of him and Luke, they were the New Hope. So I just think that's really cool that they have that hope survives in between there. It's just, to me, it's clever. It gave me a little bit of chills. Oh, okay. He's a crackling guy. You're saying that Vader eats cracklings. So does he have like a pig roast, or does he buy just like pork rinds in the bag, or does he eat real cracklings? Like he has a hog roast with all the other, commanders and admirals. And do they roast it like on the back of a TIE fighter, like on the TIE fighter jet engine? They just string up a hog, and after a few hours, Vader busts up over there and starts cutting off some cracklings, and he's just like, "Hey guys, you want some cracklings?" That's not a good Vader effect, but that's the only effect that I had pulled up, because earlier I said, Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is great. I'm gonna have some more fun experimenting around with that thing. And anyways, guys, look, that's gonna do it for this go round. I just wanted to talk about that. I'm gonna upload this and re-upload this again and cut out that muted part in the beginning where my mic was muted. I feel like a freaking idiot. But hey, also one more thing, we got our late court teaser trailer out on the channel right now. But as a little bonus for everybody, I'm just gonna go and pump that thing real quick for y'all, just so you can see it. So here we go.
What was supposed to be a weekend vacation just a harmless getaway turned out to be their last stop.
Guys, thank y'all so much for joining me. I appreciate y'all. And again, sorry about that early muted part. I'm going to re-edit this and upload it the proper way. So, hey, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. Help us make it to the top. If life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorns. Peace out, guys. Love y'all with all my heart.